Hello there, good evening indeed, and many thanks for joining us on this particular edition of Rwanda Television News. We hope you had a productive day, and this is what makes our top stories tonight.
President Paul Kagame has pledged to Ruhango district residents to increase water infrastructure in the area and the construction of a tarmac road to Gitwe and Kinazi hospitals.
Taxi motorcyclists across the country are happy that some of the problems that they face have been brought to attention of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Kagame, in hopes that it will be solved quickly. A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa.
And mine, Martina Vera.
How are you doing, Martina?
I'm very good. How are you today?
Very, very good.
All right.
And as we kick it off tonight, President Paul Kagame has pledged to Ruhango district residents to increase water infrastructure in the area and the construction of a tarmac road to Gitwe and Kinazi hospitals. We have the report. President Paul Kagame kicked off the community outreach from the Ruhango district at the Chibingo football pitch, where he met with thousands of residents. It is in this area the president started his presidential campaign as RPF Inkotanyi candidate on 14th July 2017. President Kagame applauded residents for the contribution in fighting the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic that disrupted various activities. Residents expressed their excitement as President Paul Kagame greeted them. It wasn't about seeking votes. There are many things that unites us, and that is what brought me here, so that we can put everything in the right order. I missed you, and maybe you missed me too. And this is not the last day, because I will come back. Based on the request cited by Ruhango District Mayor, which included increasing water infrastructure in order to increase water access in the area that currently stands at 68% of the total households, and constructing roads connecting different parts of the region, especially the roads to Kinazi and Gitwe hospitals, President Kagame admitted to the residents that he owes them. As we had agreed, you voted well, and you gave me a debt. What has been said about the rate of water access, 60 plus access, is not enough. We ought to increase it to at least 80 or 90%. Regarding the construction of roads, we are going to follow up on it. I came here to tell you to excuse me, but remind you that I still remember what I promised you. Sometimes we are unable to do all we need to do, because there is a lot to be done in different parts, and it has to be in proportion to the capacity. But we are always doing everything possible. It is not negligence. President Kagame reminded residents that although the government is doing everything possible to provide them with activities that improve their economy and their social welfare, they themselves should do their part in taking care of these activities. Citing the example of COVID-19 vaccines, President Kagame thanked the residents for their compliance and accepting to be vaccinated, despite some of the people around the world who were hesitant to vaccination and some of the residents that fled the country due to that reason, and called on them to be quick to listen and embrace programs meant for their well-being. You should listen quickly and listen to what is important to you, and based on that, to move forward. People should restrain from bad politics, because we know what it led us into. We know where we are coming from, and we do not want to go back. That's how the already developed countries did it. You cannot develop by staying in conflicts and divisions. President Kagame also noted that it is unclear how the Kinazi cassava plant operates at 50% of its capacity, and challenged residents to contribute by increasing their cassava produce. During the AOB section, a teacher took the floor to thank the head of state for the increment in teachers' salaries. President Kagame pledged to resolve the issue of expensive motorcycle insurance and constructing a stadium in Ruhango district.
President Paul Kagame has met with opinion leaders from the southern province that on Thursday evening gathered in Huye district for the meeting. This comes following the president's visit to Ruhango district, and on Friday he will be in Nyamagabe and then head to the western province. The southern province that the head of state is currently visiting is home to 2.7 million people.
This is the same place he began his election campaign, which is also the same place he has commenced his community outreach tour. We are so happy as the youth because this reminds us of the commitment that we have to each other and how we'll be back here in 2024. We love him and we appreciate all he does for us. Wherever he goes, there are always answers that follow.
This community outreach done by the president has really made me happy. The last time he was here, he promised us a lot of projects that will be done in our favor, and now he came back to fulfill what he promised. All the projects include constructing better roads and making sure we have electricity, water, and so much more. Our role as citizens is to join forces and work hand in hand in order to achieve self-development with the help of local authorities as well as the president.
There are so many great things about our president. We truly missed him, and we are glad that he is back here after a long time, which was due to the pandemic. He really loves us. From this outreach, we were able to collect our debt that the president had of fulfilling some of the projects that he had promised, which will be done with the partnership of the citizens and the authorities.
This community outreach really made me happy because firstly, I was able to see him again after a long time. Secondly, and most importantly, there are some problems that the citizens have that the president immediately solves there and then. One of the issues he solved is of a woman who was married, but later on the husband got to marry another woman. It made me very happy to see him invested in solving this issue.
And before we take our eyes off the citizen outreach, taxi motorcyclists across the country are happy that some of the problems they have been through or facing were brought to the attention of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Kagame, in hopes that it will be resolved quickly. Jen Mutoni takes us through.
The taxi motorcyclists have been complaining about the challenges they face on a daily basis in their work, including expensive motorcycle insurance, fines for things they know nothing of, the use of fare meters, and more.
There is this fare meter and high cost of motorcycle insurance. We can't afford our personal expenses anymore. It's a constant issue.
During the president's interaction with the locals in Ruhango district, a motorcyclist by the names of Bizimana Pierre mentioned the problem that motorcyclists are facing to the president and brought up the current high cost of insurance.
We have a problem with the motorcycle insurance that increased to a point I pay 165,000 Rwandan francs. All this is total add up of payment for various taxes. It takes up a lot of money in a way that no one can't afford clothes or children's school fees. We request that you take our problem in consideration and address it.
The head of state asked the relevant authorities how far they have reached solving these problems, and the Minister of Infrastructure responded,
Your Excellency, in not more than 2 months, this problem will be solved.
President Paul Kagame mentioned that he is aware of these problems and assured them that he himself is going to follow up on them.
I assure you that I will personally see that this problem gets solved.
After announcing this, the taxi motorcyclists expressed their joy as they were rest assured that their problems are going to be solved soon, now that they have reached the head of state.
I'm very pleased and my heart is filled with joy because our problem involved many institutions. But now that the president is aware, we have hope that it will be solved.
Some of the problems that were mentioned by motorcyclists have been solved except for the issue that emerged, such as high insurance costs for motorcycles, the use of fare meters, and more. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Thank you, Jen, for that report. Moving on, some of the facilitators in providing COVID-19 shots have noted that checking in public places if the citizens are vaccinated helps those who did not receive the COVID-19 vaccines to not miss out. Prince Manzi has the report.
Here at the Nyabugogo car park in Kigali city, people are moving from and to different parts of the city as some are moving in and out of the city to other parts of the country. Passengers say that they are being asked to show that they were vaccinated against the COVID-19. I was sitting in the car and then I was requested to move out to go and take the booster jab. I was sick recently and this prevented me from getting the jab. One of the facilitators in providing COVID-19 jabs in Nyabugogo car park, Marijan Mukagasana, states that some of the citizens did not take any of the COVID-19 vaccines. It is an issue, she says, that is mostly found in older people, where, for instance, on this Wednesday, 26 people were vaccinated in this car park, only 2 of them were under 18 years of age.
When a person is without a COVID vaccine, they tell you he or she was sick, and some say they were not in Rwanda, some say they don't know the importance of it. We try to convince them about the importance of being vaccinated and that as a Rwandan, he or she must play part in this program. After advising them, we give them cards with dates on when to get another vaccine.
Not only car parks, but also before entering any market, you are asked by volunteers if you have been vaccinated. One of the volunteers at Kimisagara Market, Claudine Mukanda Isenga, says that it happens that some people do not have any of the vaccines.
The reason we stand on market gates is for checking and advising people to take COVID vaccines. For those without a single vaccine, we convince them of the importance of taking the shots, and when they understand, we proceed with administering one.
Apart from vaccinating, washing hands is also one of the measurements undertaken to fight against the pandemic, but in most of these public places, it's no longer practiced. In his visit in Ruhango district, President Paul Kagame appreciated the efforts of the citizens in fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic, including accepting to acquire the vaccination jabs. When the vaccines became available, another serious issue arose in other parts of the world, but that was not the case generally in Rwanda. That is why I'm thanking you, because the vaccines became available and in other parts of the world people rejected them. The same people brought up rumors insinuating that the vaccinates contained other hidden agendas, but here in Rwanda, we explained the importance of taking them and people understood. It all goes with the mentality of the Rwandan population, quick to understand what's best for you, and then implement them for your own development. Rwandans are now participating in the COVID-19 vaccination program at large. At the Nyabugogo car park, between 150 and 200 people are vaccinated daily. The World Health Organization states that in the last week, the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic reduced by 9%, while deaths fell by 15%. Prince Manzi, RTV News.
Thank you, Prince. The National Agricultural Export Development Board has revealed that a kilo of Rwandan coffee has reached an average of 5,000 Rwandan francs, while that of tea is 3,000 Rwandan francs on the international market. A fact Rwanda is basing on to increase the production of the two. Precious Chidezi filed this report.
Coffee and tea growers all over the country have expressed how life-changing it's been to work in coffee and tea production. Thanks to coffee, we're able to afford health insurance, and the workers' cooperative, of which we are proud members, would never have existed without the coffee. As per the records of the National Agricultural Exports Development Board, Rwanda's coffee and tea continue to be more on demand on the international market compared to that of other countries, hence raising its market value. The price of a kilo of coffee on the international market ranged at $3.1 from the 2019-2020 fiscal year. The prices stood at $3.6 in the 2020-2021 fiscal year and have hiked to $4.9 in the 2021-2022 fiscal year. The quantity of coffee exports in the 2020-2021 fiscal year took a reduction from about 17,000 tons to close to 15,500 tons in the 2021-2022 fiscal year. In the past fiscal year, coffee contributed 75.6 million Rwandan francs to the country's GDP, which is a step up from the 61.6 million that was contributed the year before. The vice chairperson of Coffee Exporters and Processors Association of Rwanda has pointed out how well coffee exports have been doing on the international market and maintains the hope that things will continue to get better.
We tried to carry out our exports like it was targeted, and it turned out well for the most part. Those who purchased large quantities might have a hard time reselling. However, sales have been going as planned for the most part. Our standing on the international market was good from May to June, but in July, the economy caught on. The situation is getting better, and I believe we'll be back to regular sales soon.
In the 2021-2022 fiscal year, a kilo of tea cost $2.95 on the international market, which is a slight difference from $2.62 in the fiscal year before and $2.87 per kilo in the 2019-2020 fiscal year. In the 2020-2021 fiscal year, the quantity of tea exports was approximately 35.4 thousand tons that contributed close to 103.4 million to the country's GDP, which differs from the 90 million from the 34.3 thousand tons from the 2020-2021 fiscal year. Tea plantation farmers were for the first time advised by the government on what the best fertilizers are. An investment of 700 million Rwandan francs was made by the government, and Rwanda coffee continues to be on high demand on the international market. The chairperson of the Tea Growers Association, Ferwakoth, says the financial contribution will help increase the tea harvest by 10%, which equates to 99.3 thousand.
Guhera mu gihembwe gishize niho yazamutse cyane.
The increase started in the last fiscal year, and then the government supported us. The most impressive part of it all is that residents get to purchase it affordably. Things are expensive this season, and we hope the government will add a contribution to the one prior.
Ariko amahirwe dufite nuko twizera ko leta izasubira nyine ikaduha nkunganire.
Nayeb's Traditional Commodities Division Manager pointed out that fertilizers needed for coffee and tea production will be facilitated by the government. Despite Rwanda's coffee being on higher demand than most countries in the region, the coffee harvest in Rwanda isn't as high as other contenders on the international market.
Ku cyayi muri season B ya 2022 ubwo no kuvuga mu kwa gatatu k'uyu mwaka.
In March this year, the government allocated 700 million to tea growers to reduce the cost of tea sales. And regarding coffee, the government will contribute 1 billion francs for the purchase of 700 tons of coffee. We have a plan in place to introduce new trees to the process to increase the harvest.
In the 2020-2021 fiscal year, Rwanda earned $444.8 thousand from agricultural products and aims to earn $1 billion by 2024. Precious Chirezi, RTV News.
Thank you, Precious, for that report. The National Institute of Statistics has announced that more than 97% of citizens have counted, 5 days remaining to the end of the ongoing national census. Adams Kwizera has the report.
In security agencies of police and military camps, the census is going on, as the security personnel are counted one by one by the census clerks. The census clerks are soldiers or police officers who were trained by the National Institute of the Statistics. Those who were censored are the people who live in these camps, while other workers who come from their homes are counted from their respective families. Rwanda National Police spokesperson CP John Bosco Kavera notes that the census operations in the security agencies is going well, as they hope to end on time. All questions related to the census are asked by anyone who is taking the census. All clerks were trained the same. All the information needed for a person will be provided. since a policeman, apart from their professional, but they are also Rwandans. According to the statistics from our camps, we are remaining with few numbers, so that tomorrow or the next day, it will be ended. As you saw it, one enters and takes few seconds, then another one is counted. As this census is remaining with 5 days to get to its end, 11,000 clerks over 27,000 across the country have completed their areas of census as they are supporting their fellow clerks. Some census clerks shows the challenges they face. There are sometimes we don't find the homeowners, and there are also sometimes those homeowners come late. As this challenges us in carrying out the census, but there are others who give us an appointment in late hours. Others gives you appointment in next week, which is very far to the deadline. About this issue, the head of Department of Health and Social Welfare Statistics at the National Institute of Statistics, that is Michel, pointed that they took some measures of it. Particularly in the Kigali city, many people are not available, as we provided a sheet that is given to clerk as we request homeowners to give us appointment. By now, we are working at night sometimes, as we return to our homes at 8 or 9 p.m. Ndachize Michel also affirms that due to efforts are put in this census, it will end on time. 11,134 clerks have completed their areas were assigned, which means that we are in good position. As we are inspecting how far they are, for the clerks who will complete in the remaining days, we not have support. But we find that there are still many houses to count, especially here in Kigali, because people are not available. Where there is one clerk, we will add 2 or more 3 supporting clerks so that they can finish on time. It is expected that this 5th population and housing census will end this month on 30th August. Thereafter, from 16th to 30th September, there will be data analysis of this census. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
And on behalf of the entire news and technical team that made it happen, many thanks for being with us on this particular edition of Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kadisa.
And I'm Martin Avera.
Stay safe.
And have a great night.
Goodbye.